Hi, everybody. Occasionally, the Lord reminds me of a subject that's been really important to my development as a believer, as a Christian. And yet, it's not something that I focus on every day, and therefore it will kind of float to the back of my memory occasionally. And I wanted to just take up something that the Lord reminded me of today as I was reading through the Bible. In Ephesians chapter 6, we see the whole armor of God, taking and putting on the whole armor of God. And I just want to read that to you, and I'm going to focus on one specific area. It says, "Therefore take up the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. Stand therefore, having girded your waist with truth, having put on the breastplate of righteousness, and having shod your feet with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all," it says, "take the shield of faith, with which you'll be able to quench all of the fiery darts of the wicked one," the enemy. "And take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, being watchful to this end, with all perseverance and supplication for all of the saints." Now, a lot of times we don't look at that last part there, that last verse, verse 18. We don't look at that as part of the actual armor of God, but I believe it's a critical, and maybe even the most important one, prayer. It's something that we dare not overlook. We can't forget about that, and oftentimes we get into this situations where it feels like an emergency, that things are critical and we just don't know which way to turn. The best thing that you can do during those times is to pray. And Paul here in his writings to the Ephesian church says to pray with all prayer. What does he mean by all prayer? Well, there are a lot of different types of prayer. You can pray for your own individual needs. You can pray as an intercession, praying for somebody else's needs. But this prayer of supplication is what I want to focus on. What is supplication? Have you ever thought about that? Well, the definition of supplication is an earnest petition. Okay, so now let's take it a step further. Let's examine exactly what is a petition. Here's I think it's Webster's definition of a petition. It's a formal written request of a higher authority. And in this case, we're going to the highest authority, to God. A formal written request of a higher authority. And it's an earnest one of those. It's an earnest, formal, higher request of a higher authority. So when he's saying to pray with prayer and supplication, he's saying, I really need your help on this. And then he goes on to repeat that word a little bit later on in the verse. He says, being watchful to this end with all perseverance. So don't just pray once and forget about it. Persevere in prayer. Push through until you see the answer. And supplication for all of the saints. And then he says, and for me, that utterance may be given to me, that I may open my mouth boldly to make known the mystery of the gospel. He was praying for more boldness, and he wanted them to earnestly pray, to earnestly petition God that he would have more boldness. That's really something when you consider the fact that he wrote this letter while he was in jail. He was in jail for his boldness for God, and he was asking for more. So don't forget about the prayer of supplication, that formal written request in an earnest fashion to a higher authority. God bless you.